Hi everyone, my name is Todd. I have been drumming for quite some time, all the way back to grade school actually. I'm a pretty big fan of the band Rush, and I wanted to put together this tutorial so that other drummers and percussionists could learn to program a Roland SPD-20 to play along with Rush's Xanadu. A couple of things just to note, the SPD-20 has 8 pads. I am going to go, for the reference of this video, from up to down and then also from left to right. So this is going to be pad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I also have a Roland drum pad connected, and then out of view of the camera here, I have a Roland cymbal pad that is also connected. The SPD-20 has 99 different banks, and several of these are preloaded. They are different kinds of drum sets or different kind of percussion collections. I found that I needed to use 4 of them in order to kind of pull this off on Xanadu. So I used banks 85, 86, 87, and 88. What you'll find is that the pads will vary on the instrument, and I'll talk through that. They will also vary on the pitch, depending on the note that I wish to play. There are 7 different settings up here. I know you can't see it very well. I apologize for that. So for this, what you're going to find is the instrument will vary. The level, I left it 15 consistently throughout. The pitch will vary based off the note you want to play. The decay is 0. The pan is L7. The curve is linear, Lnr. And the FX Send is 15. So I broke Xanadu down into really what I would call 3 parts in order to program this. The first one is the introduction, so that is bank 85. For this one, I have a chime, which is 02 on the instrument. I have 2 wood blocks, which are banks 2 and 4. The wood blocks are instrument 07. I set the pitch at 2 for the higher one and -4 for the lower one. Then banks 5, 6, 7, and 8 represent the bell tree. What I did was I used cowbells, which is instrument L18, and I just adjusted the pitch kind of as I felt that it kind of fit what I was trying to accomplish with the sound. I don't know exactly the pitch of the bells that he uses, but I came up with something pretty close. I used the drum pad and the cymbal as tubular bells. The drum pad is going to be a low E. The cymbal is going to be a low D. And I'll kind of walk through that as we go through it. So if you think about Xanadu, the song opens with the birds chirping and the single synthesizer note being held out. Then the guitar comes in, and that's when you first get the wood blocks. And if you think about how he plays that, it's the 2 tones. So imagine the song going along, and then the wood blocks come in. So again, it's 07, it's a pitch of 2, and a pitch of -4. Then he begins using the chimes. I found that the best I could do right now is that the chime runs out for about 5 seconds. So I find that it's just best to be hitting it throughout as the chimes are being played. I know that Neil plays the chimes at some different speeds and going from low to high and high to low. I just keep it going consistent here, along with the blocks. The song then progresses a little bit. It picks up a little bit of the tempo. Then you get to the bells. As I said, these are cowbells, which is instrument L18. The pitch really is up to you as far as how you'd like to vary it. I went lower on this last one. I just personally found I like the sound of it a little bit better. So if you think about when the bell tree kicks in, dun, dun. For me, trying different patterns. Do I go left to right and then down and left to right? Or do I go up, down, then up to the right, up and down? I found that this was the easiest way for me to play it on a bell tree. So once again, dun, dun. And it does seem to work pretty good. Then the song proceeds to go along. It plays a little bit higher rhythm, then it slows down before we get ready to go into verses. That's where he uses the tubular bells. The first one is a low D, which I use on the cymbal, and then a low E on the pad. Those mimic pretty good. So once again, it is an N09 for the instrument. The low D is a pitch of 2. The low E is a pitch of 4. So that works out pretty good. At that point then, you have a moment before you need to start playing again where I switch over to bank 86. This gets us ready for the part where the Glockenspiel and the tubular bells are played, the Glockenspiel mimics the synthesizer almost perfectly. So the notes that he plays, it is an F sharp, a G, an A, an E, then a D, a C sharp, a B, and an A. And then he kind of switches over to some other notes. So what I had to do with this piece was I really had to work at how can I have this set up in such a way that I can play through it and have enough of a pause. There are only 8 pads, but he's playing more than 8 notes. And I kind of broke it down in such a way that you can end on the A and still have a moment to switch over. So if you think about what he's playing in conjunction with the synthesizer, it is... Then it switches over to the next bank, and those notes are... So I'm going to slow that down again. So it's the F sharp, the G, and the A and the E. So what you have to think about is that little bit of that pause. If I play it at full speed and with practice, it gets pretty easy. Then you end with the tubular bell, which is a D. So if we want to talk about the pitch of these, if I go back to bank 86, the F sharp is a pitch 18. These are higher, so that's why the numbers are higher on the pitch. The F sharp and then the G is a 19. The A is a 21. The E is a 16. The D is a 14. The C sharp is a 13. The B is an 11. The A is a 9. So again, think about it like the keys of a piano. That's where you see the up and the down between the sharps and the non-sharps. So once again, F sharp is an 18. G is a 19. A is a 21. E is a 16, D is a 14, C sharp is a 13, B is an 11, A is a 9. These are instrument in 0, 1, and then you adjust the pitch. When I switch over, the next notes are a low F, which is why it drops down to a 5, a C, which is a 12, so we kind of come back up again, a B, which is an 11, an A, which is a 9, a low G, which is a 7, a low D, which is a 2. Then it is the low D up on the cymbal for the tubular bell, which is a 2. And then the low E on the drum pad, which is also programmed as a tubular bell, which is a 4. So if I slow this down and break it down again, I've got my F sharp, my G, my A, my E, my D, my C sharp, my B, and my A. Then I switch over to the next bank where I have my low F, my C, B, A, low G, D, and then I have my tubular bells at a D and an E. So that's how you can program that to go through it. You repeat that twice. Then you get a little bit of a break, and that's where I hit the pad to go to bank 88. So then what you can do is you can switch over to bank 88, and this kind of sets you up for the end of the song where he's using the Glockenspiel as well as the tubular bell again. For that ending, he uses an E, a D sharp, a C sharp, a B, then he has a low F sharp, a low G sharp, and a low E. So if you think about how he plays that the rhythm at the end, and then he uses the bell. So from a pitch perspective, these are higher notes. So you have a pitch of 16 for the E, a pitch of 15 for the D sharp, a pitch of 13 for the C sharp, a pitch of 11 for the B. Then he goes to the lower notes, a pitch of 6 for the low F sharp, 8 for the low G sharp, and 4 for the low E. And then the cymbal is again a orchestra bell or tubular bell, sorry, which is N09, and the pitch on that is a 2. So if we think about it again, the very end of it, So there you go. I hope you found this enjoyable. What I will try to do is I'll try to put an attachment or some other notes on my comments here, and that way you can kind of have the notes out there available to you. I hope you find this easy to use and something that you can program easily. Check out video. There's a video of my two boys and I actually playing Xanadu where I'm using the SPD-20. Not nearly as good as Rush, obviously, but we enjoy playing, and it was part of their guitar instructor recital, and it was always great to play Rush. So thanks, everyone, and I appreciate any feedback or comments.